General Nerdery.
Long ago, General Nerdery never missed an episode, but all that changed when 2020 attacked. But now, a new episode's starting, with a young, new podcaster named Griz. But he still has a long way to go before he can become a general. But I think this episode will be fine. It'll be fine, guys.
It'll be fine.
It's totally fine.
It'll be fine.
It's totally fine.
Welcome to General Nerdery, your podcast about liking things. I'm your General Zac.
I'm General Tyler.
And I'm that guy, Griz.
And with us today we have that guy, Griz. Griz is old friend of mine, close friend of mine. He officiated my wedding. But beyond dressing like a Steven Universe Jedi for that, you want to toss some nerd credentials our way, bud?
So I've done nerd things for a very, very long time. Lots and lots of video games growing up. Serious Nintendo person, even as far as like Fire Emblem. For those of you that don't know, it's just sexy chess, but not.
That's my favorite description of Fire Emblem I've ever heard.
That might be the best description I've ever heard of it.
Yeah, it's also just a horrible thing, and it's a horrible community. Play the games, enjoy them. Don't hang out with the nerds that enjoy it as well, because they're not good people.
That's increasingly true of most fandom communities, I'm finding. I say on a podcast about fandoms.
Exactly. Other things, I play stick tag in the park with thumbs, doing the Belagarth. I play the Pokemon trading card game.
Oh.
Yeah, that's the topper I was waiting for him to give there. That's his piece de resistance.
Yeah. Also, I watch cartoons and analyze them for fun. So here we go.
Yay. That's perfect for today.
Yeah, that's absolutely excellent, because we're here to watch cartoons, well, not watch them, and analyze the cartoons that we have previously watched.
That's right. Before we get too much farther, I do want to point out that if anything sounds weird or stilted this episode, we're back to distance because I got sick.
Yeah.
Womp womp.
So,
thanks, 2020.
Yay!
Well, and not only are we back to distance, but we're on Discord, which has more of a lag than the phone conversations that we'd been using. So, as I said, it'll be fine. It's just going to drive us nuts when we listen to this episode.
Yeah. It'll drive us nuts now, and then drive me nuts later when I'm editing it as well. But the things we do for loving
it's easy
things.
for me. Once I'm done with it, it's over. Before we dive into that, what have we been ingesting this week?
Oh, man. All right, so I have been home not working since last Wednesday. I've been ingesting a shit ton.
It's Monday, by the way, for when we're recording this, for people know, to give people a sense of time.
So since I brought it up before, I finished Schitt's Creek. I finished getting all the way caught up on the new Dresden, which was awesome, but I'm really glad that we decided to put that episode off because it is very much only a part one. He basically just split a giant book in half, is what it seems like, but...
Okay.
Sounds about right.
The biggest thing that I guess I'll actually waste my time saying a little bit more than just I watched it on, because it's going to double up as a recommendation, though I'll have one at the end of the pod as well. The podcast Wind of Change is amazing. Have you guys heard of this?
No, I don't know this
I have
one.
not either.
All right, Wind of Change is like this 8-episode podcast series where a journalist is trying to track down whatever truth he can behind the rumor he heard from a contact of his that is former CIA that claims that the Scorpion song Wind of Change was written by the CIA as part of a psyop to help spark whatever ideas of change and revolution that they could behind the Iron Curtain.
Huh.
Yeah, the Griz's response there. That's exactly it.
Like I said, it's only 8 parts. I went through it all the other day. It is amazing. I think I heard somewhere that they're like looking to option the story possibly into a movie.
I'd watch it.
You just find out all sorts of crazy shit. I don't want to give away what they find out about the song because it's kind of a neat little journey, but it's amazing all the stuff that you hear over the course of the interviews that this guy does, including from some CIA people. So, and the psyops that they believe are absolutely possible that have happened. So, and a couple that I didn't know about that have happened, including one that was kind of sad, but not because it was fucked up, but because it was just took advantage of an artist that I really like. But
Oh, yeah, okay. I mean, most stories about psyops are going to have a part where you get sad, I assume, but...
Even though it's about a psyop, though, like, the whole thing is really... I don't know. Like, the whole idea was, like, it was supposed to inspire change in people, and I think by the end of it, I still came away feeling really, like, uplifted by it all, even with, like, the shady shit going on. Plus, it was just a really neat story, so...
Yeah, I'm trying to even remember what that song is. Like, I know I've
Take me into the magic of the moment on a lonely night with the children of tomorrow. Something, something.
Breathe away.
The wind of change.
The wind of change.
Okay, so yes, you're correct. I do know this song. Never a song I would have pegged for toppling the USSR, but, you know, whatever works.
Yeah, God, I can't recommend it highly enough. That's the biggest thing I would say from my week, so.
All right. Grizzles, how about yourself?
So one of my brothers, Dalen, turned me on to this podcast about RPGs. It is called Campaign Skyjacks, and it's basically if Sky Pirates met Weekend at Bernie's and had a crossover episode.
Yes.
It's fantastic. It's every bit as weird as you think it could be and more.
Good. Because I think it could be really weird, and I'm happy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I laugh at... I'm sorry.
They use the
interrupting
same
you.
system that Thumbs and I use in a lot of the games that we play. A modified Genesis system. And it's really good. It's really narrative. Lots of fun. Just horrible shenanigans and sky piracy with a dead guy.
Shenanigans with a dead guy. Oh, and sky piracy.
I laugh at the number of D&D podcasts there are out there, but I also 100% would launch my own D&D podcast and have talked with Will about the best way of going about
Fantastic.
Oh, I mean, this is General
when I
Nerdery.
have
At some
time.
point, we're going to be doing, like, at least a D&D episode, so...
A very specific
that.
nerdery.
I want to run mutants.
Yeah.
I want to run mutants and masterminds too, because it takes minimal dice rolling and it's superhero D&D.
Oh god, that's great.
Ooh.
Right? Like, yeah, this is right up my fucking alley. Anything else you've been watching, Griz? Or should we jump to me?
Everything else has been, like, really long running at this point. Like, I've been taking my time running through a series on Disney Plus called Encore. It takes a bunch of musical casts that, like, they did a musical theater in high school, and now, however many years later, 20, 35 years later, these groups are reprising their roles. It's a really fun and interesting look on, like, theater group and just that community. It's also really cute.
No, that does sound nice.
That sounds fun.
Let's see. What have I been ingesting? I am surrounded by books, so I should know the answer to this. I got 2. First one is a series called Marvel Knights by Chuck Dixon. It is a superhero book that came out around the year 2000, give or take a year or two, and was all the, like, street level heroes of that era of Marvel before it became, like, the thing to bring together street level heroes. So it was like Daredevil and Moon Knight and Shang-Chi and Black Widow and Dagger of Cloak and Dagger and Luke Cage.
And basically without Marvel Knights, we don't get the Netflix Marvel series.
Yeah, on a lot of levels. But we talked about Chuck Dixon before on the Midnighter episode, where he's a pretty good writer, but I kind of think he sucks as a person. Like,
yeah.
I suspect this. And once you realize that, it starts to kind of show through in his writing. Like, the book was good, but he just went straight to... This is a couple years before Luke Cage really had his kind of, like, renaissance and became a big name in Marvel. And Dixon chose to just kind of ignore the previous, like, 10 to 15 years of Luke Cage history and brought him back into, like, 70s silk shirt and tiara era Luke Cage.
Ooh.
Which is... It is not necessarily bad. I've read several stories from that era that are very good, even if it's so 70s. But it felt weird that he kind of ignored the history of the black guy, but no one else. Everyone else was really, like, up to date. You could just tell he hadn't read a Luke Cage book since, like, 1979. So it was good, but that is jarring. But it was also really good because, damn it, he's actually a pretty good writer, especially for, like, street-level heroes. And then my next one is, after 20 years of not actually reading it when all my friends did, I finally started the Dragonlance books.
Wait, you cut out for a second on my end, but did you just say Dragonlance?
Yes, I said Dragonlance.
Oh, I fucking love Dragonlance.
I have been not posting on social media my thoughts about it, just so I would make sure to get the recording of you realizing it, because I know you're a huge fan.
Raceland is one of my favorite characters in anything ever.
He's such a fucking edgelord. Like, I mean, okay, so it helps that I'm listening to an audiobook, so I've got a narrator doing voices, and he's got the whisper really down. And he's a great narrator for an audiobook. I wish I knew his name off the top of my head. But, like, I realized that Raceland was written in 1984, so pretty much all of my friends that made this D&D character got it from Raceland. But, like, the edgy magic user that's obsessed with power and has weird fucking Yu-Gi-Oh! Golden eyes.
Mm-hmm.
It is interesting. Griz, have you ever read these before? Do you know these books?
I haven't read the Dragonlance books.
They were basically the first D&D novels. Like, we know about... You know, we've got, like, 30 Dritz books at this point. Like, it's a D&D novel's a big thing, but this one set the stage, and it is interesting to hear stuff like they'll mention a D&D spell of, like, he cast Featherfall, and they don't say it that directly, but I'm like, I know that fucking spell.
Oh, Fizzban.
I've used that spell. Fizzband is pretty great so far. Tasselhoff I already knew Tasselhoff was great. I had tried to start the sequel series in middle school, not realizing it was the sequel series.
Oh, the Twin series?
Yes, and I did not find it good because it expected me to know a whole bunch of information that I did not yet know, not realizing I had basically started on book 4.
Ooh, right.
But I've been looking for things to scratch that D&D itch, and this is doing a pretty solid job of it.
Are you planning on going all the way through, like, War of Souls, or are you just going to do, like, the main trilogy and see where it takes you?
Well, I started this book 2 days ago, and it's 11 hours long, so I haven't even finished the first book yet.
Okay, gotcha.
So the answer is I don't know, because I don't know what that is.
Right. The second book was the first book to ever make me cry, so...
Oh, nice. I've got the first 3 books on Audible at this point. I'm almost done with the first book. I'm definitely going to listen to all 3. And then I guess I will Google up a reading order and decide if I want to go further from there.
That just makes me excited because of how much I love Dragonlance.
Yeah. I was thinking maybe we should do an episode on it soon, just so I can be the new guy to something and you can be the excited old guy.
I don't know. The last time we did that, we ended up with an hour and a half on Mortal Kombat lore.
We'll balance the workload a little more this time. That's what I got. Tyler, you got any news for us today, or?
I got news. Let's see. So
I asked that like as a question, like you don't always have.
It has been like 2 weeks since we talked, and Comic-Con happened in the meantime. But luckily for us, it's the most anemic Comic-Con ever because of COVID.
Yeah.
So I tried to pick a couple news highlights from the past 2 weeks, just because there's a couple things from last week that were cool enough, or big enough at least, that I figured we should talk about it for at least a minute. But I did try to hit only highlights, so let's see how this goes. The first somewhat shitty thing that maybe we should just get out of the way, and Zach, you might actually, even with me having an article in front of me, you might know a little bit more what's going on with it all than I do, but maybe we should bring up some of Dynamite Entertainment's latest fiasco.
Okay, so how do I want to go about this one? Let's dive into a few quick histories here. Dynamite Entertainment is one of the top 6 comic companies. It is nowhere on the scale of Marvel or DC, but it does tend to compete with Image or IDW or Dark Horse. It's that kind of like the B-level. I say that, they make some of the best books. Like B-level comic companies. It does a combination of creator-owned books and I'm trying to think of the word, but like, they have the Star Trek license. They had the Doctor Who license for a while. They have all of the old pulp characters. Mm-hmm. It makes for a pretty interesting company because of that, but it's not as well known. But they do pull in some pretty good talent. Their owner is a guy named like Nick. It starts with a B, but I can't think of it because I did not look this up. Who has been making some noise with some Comicsgate people. Nick Barucci, thank you. Now let's dive into Comicsgate a little quicker. That one's a lot faster. They're racists, for the most part, or just bigots. Mm-hmm. They spun out of Gamergate. So let that start you off on the right path. And they're people who are pissed that, I don't know, comics feature black people and women now?
Yeah, they see it as a bunch of forced diversity rather than just trying to be inclusive.
Mm-hmm. Unfortunate.
And they have a habit of trolling people. They've ruined a few panels at cons. They spit a just shit ton of bile. And a couple of creators that I used to be pretty big fans of, like Ethan Van Sciver, who did Green Lantern Rebirth and a bunch of Green Lantern work with Jeff Johns. And I want to say Mitch Breitweiser, who did a bunch of Captain America work and was super fucking good, got involved in this. And it's just like all the worst toxic fans in the community. The reason they pissed me off is they picked a dead guy, Darwin Cook, who wrote Justice League The New Frontier, or I guess DC The New Frontier, and a Spirit Run, just one of the truly great comic creators who died a couple of years ago. And they were like, oh, he would have been Comicsgate, and tried to like claim the dead guy's name, and when his widow was like, yeah, I don't think that's true, they started attacking his widow.
Yeah.
They started like harassing her. And that's when I was like, all right, Comicsgate, I already didn't like you, but you can die in a fire. Like, you're just terrible. But a lot of big Comicsgate creators, which some people have kind of staked their reputation on, because they can't get... It's a steady source of income of, like, cashing in on angry comics fans, even if it doesn't get you DC or Marvel work. Mm-hmm. But they were being really chummy with Nick Barucci. He went on, like, some of their podcasts or live streams or something, and they have been crowdfunding, like kickstarting, or get this comic book with this unique cover that if you go through the Kickstarter from like Ethan Van Sciver or whoever, Comicsgate artist. Mm-hmm. And because of this, like once this came out that he was, who knows how closely tied, a metric fuck ton of creators have just been like, nope, I'm not going to work for Dynamite anymore. Like, if they're going to be associated with these people, then pass. But it was a bunch of big name creators, like Gail Simone said this. Oh, I'm blanking his name, but Declan Shavely. He was the artist on Warren Ellis's Moon Knight run.
Oh, okay, yeah.
He's done a bunch of work in the last couple years, and he's not like rock star name, but he could be if, you know, the powers that be decided to like advertise him that way. So Dynamite has been catching a fuck ton of flack over this.
Yeah. A couple of the other artists, Carla Pacheco is pulled out, who was doing Betty Page for them. Matt Miner's pulled out, who is doing the licensed Gwar comic. Christian Ward, who is working on Red Sonja, as well as Tony Lee, who are both working on it, and I think quite a few other things too, but those are the ones that I just have in front of me right now.
Red Sonja tends to be one of their biggest sellings. It's like the biggest comic name that they have, like biggest comic that they have. So that's a big one for them. On the dark side of this, there is an artist named Jay Lee. He is probably best known. He did Inhumans a few years back. He was the artist for the adaptations for the Dark Tower books that Marvel put out a few years ago.
Oh, okay.
And he has a long-running relationship with Ethan Van Sciver because he worked on Scriver's creator-owned book, Battletoad. And using Comicsgate, Scriver's trying to get Battletoad going again, and Jay Lee, who doesn't use the internet, so he doesn't know shit about this stuff, was like, yeah, sure, dude, whatever, I'll do a variant cover for Battletoad or Cyber Frog or whatever it's called. Battletoads is an old video game, it's not Battletoad.
Yeah, I think it's Cyber Frog.
Cyber Frog or something like that. And he ended up getting a whole fuck ton of flack for it, because they were like, oh my god, DC's got this Comicsgate or working on it. And apparently, through unfortunate timing, everyone started like calling him and asking him, and people were being mean on the internet and harassing him a little bit. And it was on the day that his dog died.
Oh, I didn't know that about it. I knew that he didn't know fuck all about it because he's not online, but...
So, the Tom King, who wrote Grayson and is writing, I don't know, some new series that Jay Lee is doing a comic cover on, was like, at first was like, hey, he's doing this and it's Comicsgate, I don't like that, say no to Comicsgate. And then later on he's like, nope, it's all good. Turns out he's not Comicsgate, and Jay Lee's like, no, it's not all good. I am not happy with you right now. Like, this was supposed to be the day that I could hang out with, like, and deal with the loss of my dog, and instead I'm finding out if I still have a career over something that I don't know what's happening.
Oh, yeah, I didn't know about that last part of it. I knew that he was starting to get called out, and somebody was like, look, he's not even, like, he doesn't have an online presence at all. There's a good chance he doesn't know what's going on, but that was as far as I had seen.
And it was just too bad. And it's that weird balance that we have to remember, because I do think it's important to do stuff like call people out on shitty views. But, you know, be careful and don't harass people on the day that their dog died, because that's just sad.
Yeah. All right, so Dynamite sucks. That's what that boils down to. We can go on to happier news, though.
Ooh.
Please stop.
There's going to be an Usagi Yojimbo Netflix series.
I did hear about this. Griz, I don't know if you've ever read Usagi Yojimbo.
I've not.
But you would love everything about this.
Now, I want to point out that
Yojimbo...
I also have not read any Usagi Yojimbo, but I have a love for the character going back, way back, because I had the Space Usagi toy from the Playmates 1991 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles line.
Okay, so Space Usagi is the weirdest part of Usagi Yojimbo. But, so Usagi Yojimbo is created by... Do you have who created him? Stan Sakai.
Yep, Stan Sakai.
Stan Sakai, who I believe is Japanese-American, but he might just be Japanese who moved to America. And he started creating samurai stories, but he did it in kind of a, like, cutesy animal storytelling. So Usagi Yojimbo, which means rabbit samurai, is literally a rabbit samurai.
I am weeb enough to know the translation without you have even told me that.
Well, for the non-weebs who listen, firstly, it is a very simple art style, and whenever you say, like, funny animals, because he openly draws inspiration from, you know, like the old Scrooge McDuck comics, the funny animal genre, people tend to write it off, but it's not that. It's a completely legitimate version of storytelling samurai stories with, you know, betrayal and murder and, like, really cute scenes and really, like, romance and tragedy and the whole scope of human emotion, but told through this funny animals lens. There are ninja that are moles or bats. There's, like, 2 different clans. There is a Ronin bounty hunter named, I can't remember his name, Jin, I think, who's a rhino who got his horn cut off and, like, swore revenge against the guy who cut off his horn. It's just incredible. And then Space Usagi, which you mentioned just so real quick, is only a single volume story, and it is just Usagi's what's the opposite of ancestor? Descendant.
Yeah.
It's Usagi's descendant in, like, a Star Wars universe, basically. And as far as I know, no one knows why he wrote it. He was just like, I have this idea. Bam, Space Usagi.
And then they made it into a toy.
Usagi
and I had the toy until my little brother broke it.
Little brothers are the worst.
His biggest claim to fame, beyond being he's been creating this comic since the 80s, it's one of the longest running and most important creator-owned comics of all time, is that he has multiple times crossed over with the Ninja Turtles.
Yes.
So they were, like, in the toy line, and he's been on a couple of their cartoons. I've never seen those episodes, but I've always meant to.
I have. They're great.
It's perfect because he is a rabbit samurai, and they are Ninja Turtles. Like, it's just built for each other, but in a very strange way. How many episodes do we know?
I don't think they've said how many episodes it's going to be yet. It's going to be titled Samurai Rabbit, The Usagi Chronicles, and it's not actually going to follow Miyamoto Usagi. It's going to follow one of his descendants, a teenage rabbit named Yuichi, who strives to become a samurai like his legendary ancestor.
Alright, I don't know if I love that or hate that, but it sounds like Sakai is going to be involved, and as long as he's down with it, he has earned my trust.
Yeah, it sounds like it's basically going to be Sakai doing it alongside James Wan's production company, Atomic Monster.
Wan is doing a lot lately through that company.
And he's been having a lot of fun with it, so I'm totally down for that. Okay, so this one I don't want to spend too much time on because it's mostly just weird. But NBC Universal has decided that it needs a comic book imprint.
I did hear about this.
It's called UCP Graphic, but they're not actually going to be publishing the comics. They're going to develop the comics and then publish them with third-party publishers, most notably Boom Studios. And they pulled in Grant Morrison to start a comic series that I don't even think is going to be finished by him to, like, kick it off.
It is a kind of creatively bankrupt process that they're doing, but it will also, I mean, it'll pay Grant Morrison's bills for, like, a couple of years probably, and it'll keep Boom Studios able to do the weird, interesting, fun books that Boom does for quite a while. Like, this is... I really don't blame any of the companies or people getting involved doing this. From what I understand, because it is in vogue to adapt comic books right now, it is way cheaper to hire someone to make a comic and then have it in the rules or in the contracts that they have the licensing rights than it is to hire a bunch of Hollywood idea guys.
Yeah.
It's the same reason that there's a running theory that Marvel is not in danger pretty much no matter how bad sales go, because they are still just a goldmine of ideas for Disney to cash into $1 million movie franchises.
Yeah. Oh, there's all sorts. Yeah, it's just a gold mine for ideas, the entire comics industry. So I can't blame them for wanting to just have comics on hand that they can adapt, but it's still a weird way to go about it.
As someone who prefers comics to the adaptations made on them, this doesn't excite me that much. Other than the fact that, as I said, it's probably going to keep Boom solvent for the next, 3 years. Even if it falls apart immediately.
Yeah.
But we might get some good stuff out of it, because it will make it easier for them to go to writers who aren't already in comic books. TV writers, whatever, and be like, hey, you want to make something? Because you get some weird shit sometimes that way.
Mm-hmm. All right, so I thought we were over bummer news, but it turns out that I have one more. Sorry.
You lied to me.
I know. This just started really breaking yesterday big, and it kind of slipped my mind. So Peter Shinkoda, who is the actor that played Nobu on the Netflix Daredevil series.
Who was the hand guy from season 1.
He was the main hand guy. He sort of let it out yesterday that apparently there was supposed to be a much bigger storyline involving him and Madame Gao, but all of those ideas were sidelined thanks to Jeff Loeb, because according to Shinkoda, Loeb said that, quote, nobody cares about Chinese people and Asian people.
God damn it, Jeff. God damn it, Jeff. Jeff Loeb is one of the reasons I'm into comics, because he wrote Batman Hush, which is one of the books that pulled me back went into comics when I was falling out. He has written 3 of my top 10 Batman stories. 4, probably. His color series with Tim Sale, Daredevil Yellow, Spider-Man Blue, Hulk Gray, Captain America White. With the exception of Cap White, which is just fine. It's not bad. They are in my top stories for all of those characters. And I really hate that it sounds like he sucks.
Yeah, here's a bigger part of the Shinkoda's statement is Jeff Loeb told the writer's room not to write for Nobu and Gao. This was reiterated many times by many of the writers and showrunners that, quote, nobody cares about Chinese people and Asian people. There was 3 previous Marvel movies, a trilogy called Blade, where Wesley Snipes kills 200 Asians each movie. Nobody gives a shit, so don't write about Nobu and Gao. And they were forced to put their storyline down and drop it. Which I don't think is actually accurate as much as I remember Blade. I believe that a lot of the vampires were... There was a lot of Asian ones, but I'm pretty sure it was pretty mixed between Asian and white. He was killing a lot of white vampires, too.
I doubt I've seen it in 15 years. Wait, wasn't Dracula in the 3rd one the guy who plays Heatwave in Legends of Tomorrow?
Yes.
Oh my god.
Yes, it was.
I'm not to distract from actual, important let's confront things that suck, but oh my god, that's amazing. That, redeems that movie for me.
Well, 3 also had Ryan Reynolds basically just playing Deadpool.
Yeah. He was Ryan Reynolds playing Ryan Reynolds.
Because he definitely wasn't playing any recognizable iteration of Hannibal King, but... Yeah, so that all sucks.
Bleh.
I haven't seen if Loeb's responded to any of this yet. He was already booted from Marvel's TV offerings just because they sort of started to go downhill after a bit anyway. Before they shut down Netflix, and I think he's still pretty high up with Marvel, so who knows how that's all gonna play out. But
this sounds terrible, but the quality of Loeb's work dropped significantly after his son died, and I have not read much of his stuff since then because it was often not very good. So, if I end up stopping reading Loeb because of this, that's not a huge thing, because I already had been his modern work is not very good. But still, the whole thing is gross, and it's a bummer.
Alright, so, as of a couple hours ago, reports have started to pop out that they have landed on Haley Steinfeld for being Kate Bishop in the Hawkeye series.
I know who Kate Bishop is. She's young lady Hawkeye. I do not know who the first name is.
I haven't watched it yet, but I believe she was the lead in that Bumblebee movie that came out. Like the one about the Transformer Bumblebee.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about actual bumblebees. I thought maybe we got a sequel to Bee Movie.
No. Like Transformers Bumblebee.
Okay, that makes more sense. Never saw it. Good for her. I like Kate Bishop. I like that entire Young Avengers group.
Yeah, I want some Kate Bishop, but I don't know. I don't know enough about her to be super excited about it, but I'm excited that we're getting Kate Bishop, so even though we kind of already knew that, but...
I've never been super sold on the Hawkeye from the movies, so I look forward to maybe having a Hawkeye that has a personality.
Yeah. What I'm wondering is if she'll actually have, like, good archery form, because Jeremy Renner does not.
No, he's got real terrible, and I didn't realize how bad that was until I started dating Cece, and her entire family's archers, so I actually learned how to shoot.
Yeah.
And anytime I watch him, I'm just like, what the fuck?
Yeah, what the hell is he doing? I can't even shoot that good, and I look at him like, what? Why? You're supposed to be Hawkeye. You shouldn't need the biggest forearm guard of all time because you keep whacking yourself with your fucking string. Anyway,
although Hawkeye himself has had that a few times. He's had ones that cover like that entire arm, and I'm like, you just learn to shoot better, Hawk.
Learn to do better. Anyway, they've announced that there's going to be a 6-part Witcher miniseries that's a prequel talking about the very first Witchers. Live action.
Okay, so they're working on Witcher. They're working on Witcher Season 2.
Yep.
They're working on a Witcher animated movie. And they're working on a Witcher prequel series.
Yep.
Netflix wants that Game of Thrones money, and they think they found it.
They might have, dude. Witcher was great.
I was going to say, based off people's responses to Witcher, I'm not saying they're wrong. They found their cash cow.
Oh, I still wish they would have ended up getting Mark Hamill to play Vesemir, but I'm pretty cool with the guy they got anyway, so...
I'll take Mark Hamill in just about anything. Like, they could tell me Mark Hamill is going to play Spider-Man. I'd be like, well, that's weird, but let's do it. I'll take, 70-year-old Joker voice Spider-Man.
I'd watch the hell out of that, absolutely.
That was not as weird a choice as I was trying for, but you get what I'm saying.
Huge amount of rumors that we're going to be getting a Donald Glover-led Lando Calrissian show on Disney+.
Cool. Have Han and Chewie show up. I really, really liked Solo, and he was my favorite part of Solo. So if they want to play more in that little area of the world they were working on, please do that thing.
Well, a lot of the talks also include the fact that Billy D might also be returning as Lando, so it might be old Billy D recalling his time as young Lando.
You mean they're gonna give me young Indiana Jones in Lando Calrissian form? Oh my god, yes.
That's kind of what it sounds like right now.
That is the best news I have heard in a long time.
I think we're all still sort of crossing our fingers. The news hasn't come out from anywhere super official yet, but where the rumor first started was from the same source that dropped the news about the Bad Batch before that was officially announced, so...
That's promising, then.
Yes. Keep your fingers crossed. Should be awesome. And I got one last thing that's super tiny, but it kind of fits in. Griz, you mentioned earlier you'd been watching Encore over on the Plus, and this ties right into Disney music. Alan Menken got his EGOT.
Ooh.
The 16th... Yep. The 16th person to get his EGOT. Menken, if you don't know the name, right off the top, he did the scores and songs for Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, Pocahontas, Little Shop of Horrors, Newsies, Hunchback Notre Dame, Enchanted.
Enchanted was so underrated.
Just a bunch of shit. I'm trying to see. So I think he total has 8 Academy Awards, 11 Grammys, a Tony. He had a honorary Emmy, but he just won a legitimate daytime Emmy, and that's what got him his EGOT.
Well done.
Damn, son. That is... Anytime I hear EGOT, I think of 30 Rock, because there was a season-long plotline where Tracy was trying to earn his EGOT, but still, that is super impressive and tends to be really deserved by the time someone has done that.
Yeah. I mean, he kind of wrote the soundtrack to, like, my childhood, so...
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say, even the stuff that you listed that I'm not a big fan of, Pocahontas, the music tended to still be good.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. God, he was even a songwriter on Rocky V, which, fuck, that movie sucks, but...
Rocky V had enough going in it that it had multiple songwriters? I mean, I don't know if I've ever actually seen that one, but...
And that's kind of all I got for news. I did... It's not news, but I did find out one other interesting thing, I guess. And it's why we haven't seen... why New Mutants hasn't just dropped on streaming yet.
Why? What happened to this poor movie now?
Part of the contract for when Disney bought Fox was that any projects that were about to be put out or currently in post-production had to be put out to theaters before it hits anywhere else.
And nothing's happening with theaters right now, so...
Right, nothing's happening in theaters now. And beyond that, for I think these first 2 years, because of a previous contract that had been signed before the Disney acquisition, all the streaming rights to New Mutants would go first to HBO.
God, this poor movie is never going to get released. It's going to be good, and they're going to want to do a sequel for it, but the characters will all be in their, 90s by that time.
Right? I don't know, I will say they did put out some more footage at Comic-Con that you can go look up. It's like the first 2 minutes of the movie plus a new trailer, and it looks so good. But who knows when we'll get
my
to
young
see
X-Men. Jesus Christ, they've doubled in age
movie.
since it came out. All right, let's take a quick break, and then when we come back, let's talk about some cartoons.
Yay, cartoons!
So, when we first decided to do this, Griz and I sat down and we came up with a list. I say sat down, we did this over text. It's 2020. Came up with a list of episodes to talk about about Avatar: The Last Airbender. And those episodes were, correct me if I am wrong here, the first episode, the Secret Tunnel episode, the Introduction to Toph Wrestler episode, the Dance Party, and Sokka's Swords Master episodes. Sweet.
Yep.
Did not rewatch these because I had just watched them like a week and a half ago. I meant to. And then I watched Korra instead.
How dare you enjoy something that isn't what you're watching? Or, nah.
I am real bad at homework, guys.
How dare you.
Every week they're like, "Oh, did we read this for this, podcast that you're about to report on?" I'm like, "I sure didn't. I meant to." This is why I was bad at college, boys.
Well, you're in luck. I watched them all twice.
Oh, good. You see, that's part of the reason I'm like, "Oh no, he'll do it." I'd be so screwed without you, Tyler. But before we dive into and kind of figure out how we want to go about discussing those, what is your guys' relationship with Avatar? Where did you first discover it?
All right. Mine's probably the briefest because I've only ever watched both series once. I do really enjoy them both, but for me it was kind of just an extra piece of the puzzle during the time in my life when I was going super hard into martial arts movies. It was around that same time that it was put up on Netflix the first time. So me and my girlfriend at the time went through it because we're like, oh, look, this is cool and kung fu-y. Only to find out just how kung fu-y it was with all the styles being based off, all the bending styles being based off of martial arts styles. So it checked all the boxes for me in a huge way. And even though I only watched all of the episodes once up until this point, it was a super intense studying it watch. And yeah, that's about I still appreciate it for that same reason, actually. The last, like, 2 seasons, when they start going super hard into the bending, I fucking love, just for the, basically, it being kind of like a mini martial arts movie for me, so.
Real quick, my neighbor kids are screaming outside my window and sounding like someone died, and I don't know if the microphone is picking it up, so if it sounds like I'm murdering someone in the background while Tyler's talking, it's because I am.
Fantastic.
Oh, she just made a crying sound. Oh, I'm going to feel really bad if you can actually hear that. Her dad's out there, otherwise I'd be checking. I'm sorry. Anyways, Grizzly, what about yourself?
So I did not watch the show growing up. I didn't grow up with cable because, that actually happens to people and it's horrible. So I found it years later online just because all of my friends were like, oh, this show is great, rah, rah, rah. All of these cool things, like how it talks about, major issues and presents it really, really seamlessly into the show for children. And so I was just like, cool, I love learning about ethics and watching cartoons. This will be great. And it was. So yeah, now I try to limit myself to watching it all the way through about once a year, just so I don't overplay it.
Yeah. Oh, that's definitely a thing.
Yeah.
I remember, because you're in... Griz was in my D&D game for years, and will be again once, we can see people again. And our game group has an ongoing chat that is mostly just memes and shitposting, but occasionally we actually talk about D&D. And you were getting excited to watch the live-action movie in it. Like, just this year, I want to say.
Oh, no.
Well, so that happened. I was off work between jobs, like, halfway through that month where I wasn't working. I had a dumb idea, and I was like, hey, I've never watched this movie. I know the internet says it's garbage, but it can't possibly be that bad. And I was so wrong. It was worse than the internet told me.
I'm just...
One of the highlights of... Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I'm just happy to hear that even deciding to watch it between jobs, like, I'm just glad to hear you're still with us.
Oof, yeah.
That would,
it was like one of my favorite days of 2020 of just getting messages from Griz being like, I was wrong. I was so wrong.
Oh, we're going to have to do a whole episode about that movie at some point, but...
I've never seen it. I chose not to.
You're going to have to get tortured, and I'll torture myself again just to do that episode.
Hopefully we can meet in person at that point, so...
We'll just do that one MST
it's so
style.
much easier to talk to people. In what?
I said we could just do that one MST style.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that sounds great.
Yeah, we'll set it up and just roast it.
Oh, actually, that would be kind of fun.
Oh, hell yeah.
Oh, my God. Let's see. My relationship with Avatar. The first time I watched it is actually, like, the first time I ever smoked weed when I was, like, 19 years old. There was a girl I had a crush on at the job at the time, and she's like, hey, I'm going to go watch Avatar and smoke a bowl after work. You want to come? And I'm like, yeah, I absolutely do. And nothing happened, which is fine, because we would have been a terrible match. But I got introduced to Avatar. It was the, I almost picked it. It was the future, the lady who can see the future that in the first season.
Oh, yes.
Fortune teller. Those are the words I'm failing to say.
I love the fortune teller episode.
And then a group of friends, including Jason, who's in the same D&D group as Griz and I are, were like, we're going to play Diablo 2, which, first of all, this is like 15 years after Diablo 2 came out. This is 2010. And I'm like, yes, I am in. It's the one video game I've ever been good at in my life. Right? And we're going to do all of the characters based off of Avatar, and we're going to binge watch Avatar while we're playing this. I'm like, well, I don't know anything about Avatar, but I'm still in. And so the first time I watched through the whole series was while playing Katara on Diablo 2 as an ice sorceress.
Yeah.
Which was fucking baller, by the way.
Nice. I like that.
And then we encountered a character who was immune to ice, and I was like, I have literally nothing. I'm so screwed.
I do. I forgot to mention with my history of Avatar, even though, once again, my history with it is short, it has bounced way up my list. And as far as, like, if I try to think of, like, family-friendly properties that everyone in the world should probably watch at some point, this is right below, like, Bone for me.
Someone gave it a bad review online recently, like a person I know, and I had to stop myself from getting mad at them.
Oh, was that the...
Nope, they're allowed to have opinions.
Was that the silly meme where they were talking about how Avatar's not that great, rah, 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 yada, yada. It's just a bunch of blue people wandering around an alien planet.
No, though that does make me mad. Just you saying those words, that made me a little angry. So, Avatar Blue Cat People is an episode I do not want to do.
Oh, those have all been delayed again
Right.
because of COVID, but...
Yeah, whatever. Sorry, James Cameron. So how do we want to go about discussing this? I probably should have asked this question before we started recording.
Well, maybe. Before we get too far into it, one of you guys should explain to the people at home, if they don't know what the fuck we've been talking about, what is... Like, what's the premise? What's the setup? What is Avatar: The Last Airbender?
Grizzly, I choose you.
Fantastic. So, Avatar: The Last Airbender is set in this world where people have abilities based on the classic 4 elements: earth, water, air, and fire. And they can use these elements to manipulate the energy around them and do cool stuff. But there is one person in every generation that is able to manipulate all 4 elements. And that is the Avatar. Da, da, da.
Dun, dun, dun.
So basic setup for the Last Airbender series, the one we're talking about today, is the Avatar has been missing for 100 years, and during that time, the Fire Nation has run amok and tried to make the entire world their own.
Imperialism.
Yes. So that is the basic setup coming into the first episode, the pilot episode. And yeah. Thumley, you got anything else on it?
Let's see if I can get these right, because all 4 nations are based on actual cultures. And we should see this is a very Asian series, even though it was created by Nickelodeon and American audience, but it was mostly done by, I want to say, Korean animators.
I don't know enough to correct you, so go for it.
But the Earth Nation is largely based off of ancient China. The Fire Nation is largely inspired by Japan. The Water Tribe is mostly Inuit, although you meet Florida Man in it, which is amazing.
Yeah, just tribal cultures in general.
The Air
I think,
Tribe,
for water.
and the Air Nation, or the Air Nomads, is Tibetan / Shaolin monks.
Yeah.
Okay. Just world bending. I was making sure I had those right. And I know that all 4 bending styles, when they show them doing it, are based off real martial arts.
Yeah, ooh, I know these
I don't
ones.
know enough to know which one's which.
I can get these ones. Water bending is mostly based on Tai Chi. Air bending is mostly, I'm going to fuck up the name of this, is mostly based on Bagua Zhang, which is 8 trigram palm. Since we talked about Mortal Kombat kind of recently, Ashra in Deception and Katana in Deadly Alliance use 8 trigram palm.
Oh, cool.
Let's see. Fire bending is mostly Northern Shaolin Fist. Or Northern Shaolin, sorry, not Northern Shaolin Fist. Normally in, like, Kung Fu, if somebody just brings up Shaolin style, it's Shaolin Fist. But Northern Shaolin actually has a greater emphasis on kicking. And Earth...
Oh, kicking's a big part of that one.
Earthbending is the most varied throughout the series. Most of it is based on Hung-Ga, which is super, like, as far as movie kung fu styles go, Hung-Ga is almost the most generic, if only because it is so closely tied to Wong Fei Hung, who is was both a real person and has turned into a bit of a folk hero, and there's been over 100 movies made just about him alone. In fact,
similar to what Ip Man is becoming. Similar to kind of what Ip Man is becoming.
Yeah. And then it's the most varied. Almost every different like faction of earthbenders you run across use actually a slightly different style. But the biggest difference is Toph actually uses northern style praying mantis because it emphasizes her feet being on the ground even more so that she can continue to see.
Yeah. The show is so cool. Okay. So do we want to go through this episode by episode, or do we want to just kind of talk about whatever the show makes us think of?
Yes. Let's do those things. Watched this.
Okay, thank you, Griz. Very helpful.
Yeah, we'll just start at the beginning and go from there.
Yeah, I was going to say, well, we chose those 5 episodes to sort of focus on, and one of them is the very first episode, which is a great place to start, so...
It seemed like a weird one to not include if we're like, okay, let's pick like the 5 episodes that define the show. The one that literally defines what the show was going to have to be in there, I think. It is definitely the weakest episode of these 5 that we're mentioning. It's the most that feels like a... Avatar never doesn't feel like a kid's show, but this is when it feels like a kid's show.
Going back to it, I was really impressed, though, with this first episode and how well it actually sets up the rest of the series. I feel like a lot of pilots aren't as clean-cut about showing what everyone's motivations are going to kind of be down the line. And this sort of laid out a lot of, like, your main character's character arcs.
Yeah, they knew who these characters were from before they even spoke.
The other thing I didn't know when I was going into this, and it makes so much more sense for how good this series is, but a lot of episodes, including this pilot episode, which sets the tone for the rest of the series, was directed by Dave Filoni, who has been making Star Wars great for us for the past decade. So,
oh shit! I didn't know Filoni was involved in.
Filoni directed
Avatar. That makes
the first episode for sure. I'm going to see which other ones out of the ones we covered, because I think he directed a couple others too.
Oh my god, him and his cowboy hat are so good.
He didn't do all of them. Actually, I was wrong. Out of the ones we're talking about, he only directed that one. But he directed, I think...
Sorry, I was getting confused on what we were talking about.
I think he directed at least 4 of the episodes in the first season alone, so...
Nice. Okay, so we start off 2 Water Tribe kids up at the... They start at the North Pole,
south.
Yes?
They're Southern Water Tribe.
Start at the South Pole, and they're trying to go up to the North Pole. That's right. Thank you. I always get those two swapped
You had a
around.
50-50 chance of getting it right, so here we are.
And I screwed it up.
They were over at that East Pole.
Yes, they're over at the East Pole, and they are trying to fish and find themselves on a iceberg that has a boy and, more importantly, a sky bison trapped inside.
I don't know, man. This
Go ahead.
This first episode, like this first season, as you already pointed out, like it feels a lot more kiddie compared to the other ones we're going to talk about. But out of that first season, other than maybe the last like 3 or 4 episodes, this might be the least little kiddie feeling to me. Because Aang gets a lot more childish for like the 7 episodes that follow this.
It's true, he's a little... Aang can be a bit of a brat sometimes, but he's also 13, I want to say. Mm-hmm. I mean, he's a kid with hardcore trauma. Trauma.
And most of the trauma is like through just the show. You don't really see anything or they don't really allude to anything happening other than just, hey, by the way, you're the Avatar. We were going to tell you in 4 years, but, well, the Fire Nation are being shiesty, and here we are.
And we don't really find out until a few episodes later, but he ran away and almost died, and basically being the Avatar saved him, and he gets trapped in an iceberg for 100 years.
Mm-hmm. when he finds out that it's 100 years later, I couldn't help but start laughing and thinking that, like, Dave Lister wishes that it was only 100 years that he was traveling. But
Oh yeah, Red Dwarf's 3 million years. He's like, you shut up, kid. I do like that from the very beginning, Aang's character is absolutely consistent, because all Aang wants to be is a kid. That's why he ran away from being the Avatar in the first place. Like, he's I think the only sane one being like, guys, I'm 12 or 13 years old. This is nuts. And I mean, from the first sentence, all he wants to do is ride the penguin seal.
Yep.
And I absolutely agree with him on that. He is 100% correct to want to ride on the penguin seal.
Now, it didn't seem like the penguins minded that much, but there was a little bit there where I was like 11, 12-year-old, like, he's not a big guy yet, but he's got a little bit of weight on him, and you're using an animal as a sled. That kind of sucks, but it looks fun.
Yeah.
Seals are bigger than we give them credit for, though, a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Like, we look at seals and we're like, oh, they're so cute and cuddly. Those fuckers get big.
That's true. That's true.
Also, kids show. It does give us an opportunity to drop the tendency of this show, instead of making up new creatures, being like, oh, it's a like, nope, it's a seal and a penguin in the same thing. Or it's a platypus and a bear in the same thing.
Or an armadillo bear. Or
the turtle duck, or the
Badger mole.
God, how many bears?
There's
like,
only
moles.
one regular animal in the entire series. And that is...
And it creeps everyone
and no
out.
one knows what to do with it. Because there's like, no. Just a bear? Are you sure?
Is that possible?
Anyways.
It does a really good job of making this world feel foreign but familiar at the same time. Oh, there's also Sky Bison, which isn't multiple things, but it's a Sky Bison. And I can't watch this series with Cece without her spending the entire time going, appa, 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 appa.
Oh, I love Appa so much.
Oh, she wants a Sky Bison so badly.
I mean, I'm seriously afraid of heights, and I want a Sky Bison.
It's okay. I mean, really, the episode just serves to set them all up. We got Aang, who doesn't want to be the Avatar, but is the Avatar. He kind of has to learn how to be the Avatar, and we kind of get that in a mini form in just the opening 2 episodes, and showing how he has to be able to do these things to be able to protect the people the way he wants to. But also him just wanting to have fun. You get, like, the introduction to Sokka, who... he just wants to be a good warrior, and that follows the entire series, and we'll cap that off a little bit with Sokka's master, but...
Sokka being the only one of the main characters who can't bend.
Yep.
And is probably my favorite character of the group, especially watching it this most recent time. I mean, he's the one most willing to call out bullshit, which I appreciate.
Oh, no,
more
I
the
don't
older
agree
I
with
get.
that. I'd say Katara for most willing to call out other people's bullshit. Because that's literally how they found Aang, was Katara calling Sokka out on being a misogynist prick.
You know what? That's very good
true.
point. Like, this has been pointed out to me before. This was a Nickelodeon show in, 2005?
Yeah, it aired in... First air was 2005.
And they start out immediately with 2 characters of color, and the girl character immediately calls out the casual sexism of the other character. Like, this was... it's not super crazy ideas, but it is... This show is unapologetically progressive. It would be considered SJW claptrap if it came out today. Like, we'd get those complaints. It is so good for it. Oh my god, I love it so much.
I was just thinking about that. I would kind of agree with both of you. I feel like Katara is the one that's most likely to call out anybody's bullshit, but Sokka's the one that's more likely to, like, kind of stand up and speak truth to power in a way, and he's not afraid to sort of back down because he's already the most quote-unquote powerless one of the group to begin with.
Well, and Sokka calls out situational bullshit. Katara will be like, you, person, are being an asshole. Sokka's like, this doesn't even make sense what's happening right now, is what, I guess, kind of what I meant about, like, most willing to call out bullshit. He gets to be the voice of the audience anytime the concepts get too over the top.
Or or anytime is something like a super antiquated idea, like the fortune teller reference or episode you were referencing earlier. Sokka is all about being like, no, this is bogus science. It's not even science. Like,
It kind of taps into that, like, strong atheism that sometimes drives me nuts, where I'm like, okay, you can disagree with them without belittling them. But also, when they're like, what, can you explain how the clouds work? And he just goes, yes! Was so relatable in the year 2020.
But then also on the other side of things, since I don't think we've mentioned his name yet, like, we get introduced to Zuko, too.
Yep.
And at least the beginning of... I mean, he's might be the most complicated character in the entire series. And I forgot how much I hated him, like, first off.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I so didn't want him to become a good guy. Spoilers. But it gets pretty clear pretty young. This show came out in 2005.
And so, like, everyone else kind of gets set up for their overall arcs. Zuko gets set up for, like, what he's going to do this season.
Honestly,
Yeah.
that's the part about this season that I like the most, is it sets everyone up for everything, but also just, it is a good baseline for character growth. We see where everyone is. Aang is the child that has to act way beyond his years. We have Katara, who is way too mom friend for anyone's good, especially her own.
But she's been kind of forced into that position, which I have met so many women that found themselves being the mom friend, whether they wanted to or not.
And honestly, she doesn't lose that role until way later when... Actually, no, she's always the mom friend, and it really sucks for her. But she does eventually figure it out a bit.
They balance it better as the other characters grow up a bit.
We have Sokka, who has very patriarchal tendencies, and...
That's way stronger in the first season, too. Like, it doesn't take long for them to call him out on it in really significant ways, but he's definitely
I think
traditional tough
I think
guy.
episode 3 or 4 is when we meet the Kyoshi Warriors, which is the first, like, real call down for Sokka, which is excellent and phenomenal.
Oh, it's so good.
We have Zuko, who is very focused on his task. It's literally all he's done for the last 3 years is just search for the Avatar because of decisions he's made.
And then we have
Uncle Iroh.
Uncle Iroh!
Who, disgraced former military general, I say disgraced, but, like, he's still one of the nation's heroes, despite not conquering Ba Sing Se. All he wants to do is teach Zuko how to be a good human being, and Zuko does not want to learn yet. So,
One thing
go ahead, Thumley.
One thing I think this show does so well, and I think Iroh makes it possible, I don't think they could have done this without it, is even the bad guys, you know, with Zuko being definitely the bad guy in the season, and Iroh sort of counting, because he's his, like, number 2 / teacher, is even the bad guys, you find yourself cheering for them, like, you want them to succeed in things, even if you don't want them to catch the Avatar.
Yeah, and that's...
Like, anytime they go up against other Fire Nation, you're like, go Zuko, you got this.
And that's part of just the genius of the writing and how they presented the enemies. Like, first season, they wrote everything as pretty black and white. Like, if they're from Fire Nation, this is a bad thing. They are causing global crisis. If they are from literally anywhere else, they are good people. And then as we work into the show, we see how that isn't actually the case. And I see it as kind of it's just a classic teaching mechanism. You start with a good baseline when you teach kids, like, hey, this is how things are. And then as they get older, you teach them more details that show, hey, what we taught you before isn't the entire story, and it's a little more nuanced than that.
Well, and I think it's just part of the anti-imperialism message of, It's so easy to write off everyone on the other side as bad guys and everyone on your side as good guys, and it's always so much more complicated than that.
And we get
in real life or in Avatar.
we get to see a lot of good humans portrayed, and a lot of bad humans portrayed very accurately in this show as it goes on, and it's just phenomenal.
As nuanced as this show gets, with these rewatches, there was just something I couldn't help, an idea that I couldn't help but shake when I was watching those. How much, like, this show was basically made for like the 9 to 14-year-old audience for the most part, and it gets super nuanced, especially for that age range, to the point where like it does it better than some of the more quote unquote adult shows that I've watched. But I couldn't help but wish, with some of these situations, including in just these very first 2 episodes, that like we had the version of this show that had hour-long episodes and was made for like the 14 to 21-year-old age range, where they could go deeper into like at the very end of these first 2 episodes, when the Water Tribe sends them away, like, look at the makeup of who's left with the tribe. Like, I would love to see a little bit more of the nuance of like them kind of risking it all. Like, we're sending away the 2 people that probably do overall the most actual work in the tribe because they're the ones that are in the right age range too. We might not survive.
I've never thought of that before, and now I'm super sad. But, oh, Jesus Christ.
We might not survive, but we're doing this because of the hope of the world is in the Avatar.
Man, this show, any critiques I have, I can usually write off as nuanced as this show can get. It is still a, as you said, 9 to 14 Nickelodeon show from 2005. Like, it is still fits within its genre of television, and it just pushes those boundaries farther than you're used to.
Yeah.
Like, this is, for the most part, way later, but towards the end of the series, Aang is like, I've never killed anyone. I'm like, oh, man. Oh, bitch, you've killed so many people.
Yeah.
He hasn't killed anyone in the
so
same
many
way
ships.
that, like, Batman and the Burton Batmans hasn't killed anyone.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. And I would have loved, Cece and I got talking about this the other day when we mentioned we were going to record this episode, a more nuanced, like, I have never actively killed someone as opposed to some people have died as a result of my actions, but I also get why that wasn't going to fly on Nickelodeon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, also, Aang was 12. He might not have just known the difference. Yeah.
I'm just saying, he has sunk many ships in the middle of the ocean while people are wearing metal armor. Like, we once joked about making a drinking game where every time Aang kills someone, you take a shot, and then we got to the end of season 1 and we're like, oh, we would die. We can't do this.
Well, I mean,
Yeah, that's a bad idea.
you'd be fine up until like those last few episodes, and then just straight poison at that point.
Yeah.
Oh, the other thing that I liked that they kind of set up, though, is the romance. You have Aang just smiling at Katara. Not even real. Oh, I was smiling?
Oh yeah. No, he wears his heart on his sleeve. It's a real problem for him the entire time.
And I forgot that they had set that up, like, from the get-go. And I've always thought it was cute.
Oh, from the very beginning.
Yeah.
It's an interesting thing, because part of me keeps being like, he's 13. Calm it the fuck down. But also, I find myself super hardcore cheering for those two and being like, no, they're meant to be together. Never should you actually in life think that the person you had a crush on when you were 13 is the person you're meant to be with. Because it definitely was not for me. But, again, kids show, so I'm a little more willing to go it. I do like that in that romance, they are allowed to be children. And this is actually, I think, a good place to jump into the Cave of Two Lovers. Or the Secret Tunnel episode, as I call it. As most people call it. Because that's a much bigger plot point in the second episode.
Yeah.
So if you two are good with that.
I'm good with it.
Aang is allowed to be a kid with a crush, so he says the wrong thing a lot. He misinterprets situations, and he's called out when he does, which I think is important to see. but he's still a good kid, and like you can tell that these people legitimately care about each other. They're just not sure how to deal with emotions yet because they're teenagers.
Yeah. It's awesome that they're allowed to deal with it as children, and I'm also really glad that it just didn't end up being Blue Lagoon, but...
Right.
Yeah, right.
Pass. Oh, God. Make that fucked up.
Sorry, I just had to make the Blue Lagoon reference when you have child romance, but...
Oh my God,
Big
you're a
oof.
monster. Secret Tunnel episode is... Because this is early season 2, right?
Second episode.
Yep.
Yeah.
At this point, they have had a major win against the Fire Nation. Aang has learned waterbending. He is off to try to learn earthbending. He's still on the way to Omashu to find Bumi at this point, I want to say.
Omashu is effectively the other side of this mountain from where they are.
Yes, thank you. And they run into this group of hippies who have the most weirdly addictive song of all time that I used to torture my roommate with because he hated this song.
It blows my fucking mind that a Nickelodeon show had a character so obviously based off of Tommy Chong.
And so clearly high throughout the entire
So
episode.
stoned throughout this episode. I felt great kinship with Chong. Anyway.
Yes, the Chong character clearly has no idea what's going on, but he knows the legend of a secret tunnel. Secret tunnel through the mountains. Secret, secret, secret tunnel. Which used to be the song that played when I got a call on my phone. And as I said, my poor roommate, who did not like this episode much, just came to despise this episode because of it.
Classic.
This episode, I think, does some of the best job of letting them be kids in their own way. As we said, Katara and Aang have their cutesy, like, trying to figure out the concepts of romance because they keep telling these stories about the two lovers, and Aang is just like, yes, that should be us. And we have the world's most awkward moment of they're trapped in the cave and the legend says love will guide the way. And Katara's like, hey, what if we kiss? Do you think that would work? And just...
Us kissing.
Everything involving a 12-year-old?
Yeah, us kissing. What a horrible idea. No, it's not horrible. Yeah, I'd rather kiss you than die.
And
It's supposed to be a compliment.
just like, you can see every step where Aang is trying so hard to not to not put his foot in his mouth, but he keeps going further and further and further. And it is one of the most relatable things about early attempts at dating in life that I have ever seen. You've got a crush on this person, you don't know how to deal with it. The person, like, you don't want to make something sound big because, oh God, it's embarrassing. But if someone else writes it off at all, you're suddenly super offended.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And then Sokka, you just get the lovely him having to deal with hippies when he's been separated from the rest of them. And they're, as we said, clearly super high the whole time. And poor rational Sokka.
Poor rational Sokka.
Just losing his mind. Yeah, that pretty much sums up the series.
It's interesting, too, because normally Sokka is like... He's the clueless one, but it's usually unintentional. Like, he's either not a bender or he wasn't around when something happened. And so it falls on him, usually to be like the comic relief, and it plays into that with him being clueless about some things. But in this one, he's, like, juxtaposed against this group that are intentionally clueless. They don't care.
Oh, they're so dumb.
And he's like, wait, like... You guys can't just not know. Like, we gotta try to do things. And they're like, nah, it's good. And he's like, I'm in the same boat as you guys right now, but I need to get something done. And they're like, nah, it'll just happen.
No, it'll fix itself. It's a good place where we get to learn more about Sokka. They do a really good job of not just having him be the sidekick character. When you have a bunch of characters with superpowers and one guy who doesn't, it's so easy to just, make that character whatever goofy sidekick is hanging out with the hero. these guys absolutely could not function without Sokka. He's not Snarf in all of this. And so putting Sokka, the like planner and the strategic guy, with the person who absolutely doesn't care what happens 10 minutes from now is comedy gold to help balance out the incredible uncomfortableness of a 14-year-old with a crush.
Well, and then with Sokka's bit, we also run into the Badger Moles and find out that Badger Moles can teach earthbending and were the original earthbenders, which sets us up for as we move on.
Indeed.
Which kind of...
Oh, I was probably about to say the same thing you're going to, so finish.
Oh, okay. Which kind of sets us up to our next episode, which is the Blind Bandit.
Oh my god, so this is where in the series it starts getting super good for me.
Why am I not surprised at all that where it starts getting super good is the wrestler episode?
Yeah, well, like I said, I'm super partial to like all the bending and stuff in the series to begin with. Not that there hasn't been loads of bending in some of the episodes that we skipped over, especially like the last 3 or 4 episodes of the first season. But, oh man, Toph is a fucking phenom. This episode has a shit ton of bending. Goals. And on a more metal level, it's when Aang has to start learning earthbending is where I really start actually liking him more and not just thinking of him as a kind of annoying kid.
Well, he has to grow up more to do it. Like, waterbending comes pretty easy to him. Earthbending forces actually, like, confronting aspects of his personality.
Well, yeah, I mean, earthbending, he has to wait and listen. And up to this point, that's definitely, like, the last things he's been wanting to do. He's been like the wind. He's been super flighty, popping all around, and now it's, you gotta stop.
With earthbending, he has to take a stand. And you have to remember, he ran away because he didn't want to take that stand. And again, I get why. He was 13. It was bullshit. He was put in that situation. But up until this point, like, you get his... He's still a very moral character. He still stands up for what's right. But Season 2 feels a lot more when he starts actively fighting back a lot more. At this point, their previous attempt to find his old friend Boomy to teach Aang earthbending doesn't work out because the Fire Nation has been conquering the Earth Kingdom. And going looking for new masters, they go watching earthbending wrestling, which I don't like wrestling, and I would super go watch an earthbending wrestling match. That
just for the boulder.
Amazing.
That's such a great personality.
Oh my god.
Also, the boulder was voiced by Mick Foley.
Thank you. That's what I was about to ask, because I knew they got a real wrestler to do that.
Mick Foley, probably better known as Mankind, or Dude Love, or Cactus Jack, and just a fucking warm, brilliant, amazing guy. I can't find them, but I did own his first biography, and have read the first and second, because I had a friend that also was a big fan of him, so...
When I was telling you about the first time I watched these, I was playing playing through Diablo 2 with it. Our buddy Jason, who I'm trying to get on the podcast, but we just haven't managed it yet, had made Azula originally and didn't like how Azula was coming out. So he remade the Boulder. And he learned the one druid spell, which is a boulder that rolls and then explodes. And for the entire season, because I think we beat the game somewhere around the end of Season 2, he just cast that one spell repeatedly, and anytime he did something, he yelled, "The boulder is getting a drink now! The boulder!" any excuse.
Way to be in character.
Which, Grizzly has played D&D with this guy, so this is very appropriate. He made a character named Dr. Professor Panancia, MD. And I'm not going to go into that because that'll take hours and has nothing to do with Avatar. But it's just great. This is one of, I think, the most fun episodes. Just it does advance the plot a lot, but it's very willing to spend the time showing off the goofy world building.
And then,
in ways that I really appreciate.
Also in the background, we get to see Zuko and Iroh off on their kooky adventures in exile.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, by this point, we didn't mention it last episode, Zuko and Iroh have become enemies of the Fire Nation. So not only is he, like, the exiled prince...
He's now the traitor exiled prince.
He's not even really hunting... Yeah, he's not hunting the Avatar anymore. He's on the run. And Zuko is such a bitch throughout this entire season. But it's super important world building. I was so mad to start to like Zuko with this. There is a scene in this season where he is being taught to redirect lightning, and his uncle's like, I'm not shooting lightning at you, are you nuts? And so he goes on top of a mountain in a storm, hoping that lightning will strike him so he can redirect it. And he screams out, come on, universe, you've never held back before. And it is the most emo moment in possibly the history of television. Oh, it's ridiculous. It's so good dumb at the same time.
And I think this episode is also... I think this is also the episode where Zuko splits off from Iroh and really goes down the path.
I have to figure out who I am.
And I gotta do it alone.
Which, to be fair, is one of the better Zuko episodes of the season. But, yeah, he has to... In this season, there's so much where Zuko can almost be a good person, and then he makes the wrong choice. And all of that wrong choice making makes him a much more interesting character, particularly in season 3. But, oh my god, it is so... I just hate him so much in these early seasons.
Well, he was...
You be nice to your uncle.
Right? Please be nice to Iroh. All he wants is your love.
Since we haven't mentioned it, Iroh is voiced by the legendary voice actor Mako, who was Aku in Samurai Jack, and is in a bunch of other stuff. He was also... he was in Conan the Barbarian, and he was in MASH, of all things, when he was young. Which I did not realize until I saw also starring Mako, and I'm like, wait, I've seen that guy like 15 times. Holy shit, that's Uncle Iroh, as a young man in the Korean War.
So I don't know, I didn't see for sure a thing, a source for this, but when I was looking up a little bit of trivia about this episode, and just to pull it back around to the wrestling real quick, apparently the boulder is the boulder because they originally tried to get The Rock.
Oh my god, that's wonderful.
Oh, Jesus.
Which makes it even funnier that it was Mick Foley to end up voicing him, because the Mankind and The Rock had extremely famous feud for a while in the WWF, which ended up with them becoming tag team partners for a little bit as the Rock and Sock connection. But
that's wonderful.
Jesus Christ. Oh my god. I so want to get into wrestling, because every time I hear everything about it, I'm like, this is amazing. But anytime I watch it, I'm like, this is terrible.
Yeah.
Sorry,
I can't
fans.
say much about
trying.
modern day wrestling, but Attitude Era. Oh, Attitude Era. So good.
Oh, it was so bad.
That's what made it good, Thumbs. Get your shit together.
Get my shit together. Okay.
Figure it out.
Well, the other great thing about this episode is...
Please.
You have Toph, for the first time, because it's obviously the first time she meets them, calling Aang both Twinkle Toes and a fancy dancer, which of course then comes up in the Headband.
It comes up in the Headband. It comes up in Legend of Korra. It comes up like 60 years later in the storylines. But that's a different episode. Since we haven't talked about Toph yet, Toph is arguably the greatest earthbender in the world. She is a blind girl who I think is about Aang's age. She's shorter than the rest of them, so I always assumed she was one of the younger ones.
Well, Toph's the biggest badass in the show. I don't give a fuck if Aang's the Avatar, so, like, Toph's where it's at.
Yeah, and Toph's big thing is she is blind, but she can see through basically echolocation through the ground. She can feel, like, the vibrations, which gives us some great, like, Daredevil vision shots throughout the show.
Oh,
so just
yeah.
visually is amazing.
It is like Daredevil vision.
And she's just her entire thing is she was raised to be this, like, proper little rich girl who's always babied because she's blind, and instead she's a, rough tomboy who sneaks out at night and joins wrestling matches and fucking dominates wrestling matches, and basically is the most likely to get into a fist fight out of anyone in this, other than she would, just crush you with a boulder instead of punching you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, out of anyone in the cast, her and Zuko are the only ones that would fight God.
Yeah, and Zuko would do it because she was mad, and Toph would do it because she'd think that would be awesome.
And Toph would probably win.
Oh, yeah.
Make a hell of a show, to be sure.
Don't fuck with Toph. Throughout the main actual plot of the story, which we haven't actually mentioned, as I said, Aang is looking for his Earthbender. He tries to find Toph, or he tries to win over Toph, who doesn't want to disappoint her parents. So she's like, no, I totally am not an amazing fucking wrestling champion Earthbender. Which, real quick, we just talked about how many people would die in the world of Avatar. Earthbending would be, like, the quickest to murder people. They talk about how dangerous fire is, but they'll just, like, launch boulders at people and be like, you'll be fine.
You're okay. I was only like a 3-ton boulder.
It's where cartoon physics maybe kicks in the most. Toph, I think, brings in new life. Like, the group had gotten a little too chummy.
Yeah, she definitely brings in some animosity.
Like, I mean, they're always a group that's very close, but she's so willing to just throw everything into chaos at the drop of a hat.
Which she would see through her feet.
Yes, exactly. And I think it's because she's one of the few characters that's kind of allowed to be selfish in it.
Yeah.
Sokka and Katara, whatever their issues they have, they're also a very close brother-sister pair that's been working together their entire lives. And Aang is literally would give you the shirt off his back because that's how his culture was designed. While Toph is just like, nope, I'm awesome. I can just take care of myself. Fuck off, all of you. For good and bad.
There's an entire episode about that.
Yes. Which, of course, is not one of the ones we picked, but apparently I'm going to talk about it anyways a little bit. In the first season, Sokka had been way more skeptical of everything, but he's pretty on board by this point because he's, seen the Avatar state. While Toph just doesn't care.
I mean, she was taught how to earthbend by a bunch of badger moles in secret, so it's just zero fucks given there.
Yeah, Toph knows how cool she is, so she is less than prove than anyone else.
I just love how almost seamlessly she ends up fitting in. Like, I can't think of the Gaang without thinking of Toph, but she doesn't come in till the series is almost at the halfway point.
Yeah. It was really jarring to watch season 1 because I hadn't in a long time. I've watched episodes off and on, but I haven't done a real rewatch in a couple of years at this point. And I kept being like, God, it just feels so small. Like, what I think of as Team Avatar definitely is not there yet.
But Toph makes it there.
Oh my God. And the series does just go straight up from there. Partly just because by the time Toph comes in, they've set up enough plot lines that can really start taking off, but part just because Toph is so good. Any other thoughts on, I guess, Season 2 in general? Book 2, Earth?
Nah, not really. Or Book 2 in general. My biggest thing, like I said, is that it's where I started liking Aang, so...
No, I think I'm good.
Alright. It brings us to Book 3. Everything kind of goes to hell over the course of Book 2. Like, it looks like they're going to win. It looks like they're going to win. Turns out it's going real badly. The Earth Kingdom falls. At this point, the Fire Nation has won the war. This has been going on for a century. And everyone goes undercover in their plot to beat up Mark Hamill. Fire Lord Ozai. Played by Mark Hamill.
Oh, Mark Hamill.
During this, Griz, this is actually, like, the one episode that you were like, no, we need to do this episode.
Yes. So, I love this episode specifically because it really humanizes the quote-unquote enemy, and it just shows kind of how oppressive long-standing nationalism is, and just how very thorough propaganda can kind of really desensitize you, or that's not the word I'm looking for. It can just really narrow everything and wipe out large swaths of history, and so that all you know is, yeah, we're great, and everyone else can deal with it.
Yeah, it does have a whole lot of the kind of like Chairman Mao feel of communist China, although there were bits that I was like, oh, that's uncomfortably
Yeah, especially in our current
relatable.
political climate.
Yeah.
The place where they were reciting the Fire Nation oath, and I don't actually have anything against the Pledge of Allegiance, but I was still like, oh man, there is something weird about like being required to do that in school.
My favorite part of the whole school thing is the pop quiz that came about because of the botching of the pledge. Or the only question that we hear is, when did the Fire Nation fight the Air Nation army? And Aang's just like, the Air Nomads didn't have an army. What are you talking about? And so it just really shows how thorough the brainwashing and the whole idea of the winner of the war decides the history, and what parts of the story get lost when the winner decides what the history was.
What's true.
And it's just...
It's definitely a thing I think of a lot doing a history and war podcast on the other show I do. So real quick on this, since we kind of failed to explain it, Aang is going undercover at a school here because he stole Fire Nation clothes to, hide out, and accidentally put on a school uniform and is kind of shuffled off to Fire Nation school.
Well, is shuffled off to Fire Nation school.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which he loves is my favorite part of it.
Because he gets to see the changes in culture of 100 years. Because he used to hang out with his friend Kuzan 100 years prior, and now everything is completely different. Aang doesn't know the local slang anymore, but he still really tries.
Flameo, hot man.
Well, and the other thing, and I think he says something to the effect directly out loud is, this is the first time since he was 100 years ago, before he ever knew anything about the Avatar, when he was just an Air Nation kid, that he's been able to act like a kid.
Yeah.
Nobody knows he's the Avatar. Nobody knows he's a
but...
bender in that school. He's just a kid in school.
Yeah.
And I can definitely see the appeal of that. Like, poor Aang is never allowed to be a kid. So anytime he does, he just holds on to it so tightly.
I want to say, I'm out of the 5 episodes that we looked at for this episode, as much as I loved the last one because of the bending, this is probably overall my favorite, and I'm really glad, Griz, that you pushed to put this on there. This is one of the ones, like, for Aang, it subtly gives a really good reason for how his inherent playfulness is also super useful, because he truly acts as like a bridge to these other Fire Nation kids, using that in this episode. And it was really weird to watch it after having listened to all of that Wind of Change podcast, because it's kind of the same thing of getting these joyful cultural ideals to this people that have been deprived some of it because of the nationalistic setting that they're in. And it just reminded me, I'm going to paraphrase because there's like 15 different versions of this quote anyway, but it just reminded me of this quote of joy in treacherous times is an act of rebellion.
Oof. Oh, that's a good thing to remember. In 2020. And I do like that Toph is kind of underused in this episode. She doesn't really have anything that important pop up, but everyone gets to be a bit of a kid in this one. Like, he gets, a note for his parents to go, so Sokka and Katara put on costumes and pretend to be his kids, or his parents, and call themselves Wang Fire and Sapphire Fire. And we get Sokka wearing a beard, which is always... Sokka's undercover beard is always one of my favorite things. I don't know why I find it so funny.
Sokka's undercover beard is so great.
Right?
And just how easy he is to win over. He's like, this is a bad idea. You get to wear a costume. I'm in. As someone who dresses up in the park on the weekends, that is a very relatable sentiment. But they basically decide that the best way they can help these kids, because Aang is automatically... He never really thought too much... Like, he was never very into the idea of Fire Nation as the enemy, but the moment he meets Fire Nation civilians, which we haven't really before this episode, because everyone's been military, he's like, I can help them. And I love that his solution to helping them is to basically footloose the town.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna throw a dance party.
I mean, in the act of footloosing his town, like, fucking his and Katara's dance is really cool.
Yeah. It's visually really good, and it's a beautifully subtle way of, like, character growth when you look at, you know, about a season before at Cave of Two Lovers, where Aang is trying to flirt and completely cannot do it. Cannot flirt at all. And we get to this one, and he's not trying, and I mean, he'll try again later, and it'll be awkward again, because, again, 13, 14 years old. Aang is playing it up pretty strong here. He's laying the flirt on hard, completely without really meaning to, just because he wants to dance with Katara, who everyone thinks is his mom, now that I think about it, so that might be weird.
Well, and
I don't think she's in disguise anymore, but I had that thought. Like,
the dance, although stylistically extremely different, just completely reminded me of Gomez and Morticia in the Addams Family.
Oh, that's great. I like that.
oh, Gomez and Morticia.
And that, I mean, anytime you can invoke Gomez and Morticia for me, I'm down, so.
I do that too. It's fantastic.
And again, it was another really subtle way of, like, challenging imperialism, because their dance is mostly waterbending movements. Mm-hmm. And, I mean, they call themselves from the colonies, which actually later on, there are comic books written by a guy named Jean-Lin Yang, who is a great comic book creator, and with the show creators, like, helping him plot stuff out, that is a continuation of Avatar that are super good and you should check out. But one of the big plot lines is, what do we do with the colonies? Because, you know, it's been there 100 years. There's firebenders who have lived there for generations at this point. Yeah. But that's later, and kind of ties into Legend of Korra as well, because I keep jumping forward.
I think one of the colonies ultimately ends up becoming Republic City.
Yeah, I think they're pretty subtle about it. They just call it the colonies, but Republic City comes out of it. At this point, the team, you're starting to understand how a group of 15-year-olds has survived this giant world-conquering army. Because by this point, all of them are just super good at their jobs.
Yeah, they've been running around for a season together. They've got pretty well-defined roles at this point.
Which kind of leads into our next one, unless we have anything else we want to talk about on Footloose and the Avatar world.
No, I think I'm good.
It is probably the best episode of them.
I'm good for now, but us talking about it has helped me decide what my God, what's that thing we do at the end of the episodes? What my recommendation is going to be. So,
oh, good.
Perfect. I'm glad that it came up. Is it Footloose?
No, it's not Footloose.
Okay, that's probably wise. At this point, as I said, everyone's really set in their stuff, and Sokka is utterly invaluable to the team in like 15 different ways. But as the powerless character, he has kind of fallen behind on the combat side, which I love that they get to address in our final episode, which is Sokka's Master, where Bitch learns to sword fight.
Sokka's Master is another one of those episodes that I really wish was like twice as long as it is.
I agree with you. I do think this is one of my like all-time favorite episodes of the series.
It's up there. It's not... I don't think it made my top 10 list, but it's good.
Oh, I think it's in my like top 5. But I get why. It just taps into so many things that I just really dig as storytelling devices. The main thing I'm going to point out, though, is I like that at the beginning when Sokka is feeling bad because he feels like he can't add up, they don't just be like, oh no, you're wrong. They're like, your feelings are very valid. How can we help combat that, even though we find you helpful, useful, whatever you want to say for it?
Man, how to talk about Sokka's master. I do really like this episode. I wish there was more to the actual training sequences, because I feel like that's the part that I wanted elongated, because I feel like you could also, if you had the time, you could work in the way his training from this master reflects back on things he had done maybe wrong or at times right, and instead we just sort of see them going through some of the motions a couple different times and in some montages. But in the end, this episode like does show some of the the strengths of Sokka and the ways that he has sort of grown up, even if he hasn't realized it till this moment in this episode. You had brought up like earlier how he sort of falls into almost like the toxic masculine hero or at least that's what he's kind of trying to be, because he's trying to be the great man, the great warrior that's helping people. And like this episode finally shows, like, it shows him that that's not where strength has to lie. And he's learned that gradually through all this time, but it takes that official, like, the test sort of towards the end to prove it to himself.
Well, and it's so good, because you're right. I wish it had been significantly longer than it was. Even though it kind of shows that Sokka already had these skills, it was just a matter of like realizing them and bringing it out. Because every time he's given a task, make this rock garden to learn things, do the painting
Landscape
thing where you
painting.
are shown a beautiful view, and then like only for a moment though, and then you just have to paint out everything you saw. Sokka does it always in a very Sokka style, where he doesn't quite go for what they were looking for, but he's not wrong.
You added a rainbow.
Yes. Or like they're like, build a rock garden that reflects you, and so he just makes like the ultimate hangout spot.
Rock gardening is so you can learn to use terrain to your advantage.
And so he builds like a hangout and makes the servant bring him a lemonade. Like, it's great.
And Pandal's like, while you're going, can I also get one?
That's and you get the classic, let's make a weapon from a meteor, which is Space Sword is a trope that I will never be tired of. And also I love that Terry Pratchett in real life made a space sword that he got knighted
good
with.
job,
Right,
Terry.
that's so great.
Well done.
That's what I would have wanted done if I had, like, no chance in hell I'll ever be knighted. But if I ever was, it would have to be with a space sword.
The other thing I really like about Sokka that gets shown in this episode, and honestly it was shown a little bit in Cave of Two Lovers as well, but I waited to bring it up till now, is I like how Sokka is very realistic about his own capability, but he doesn't let that stop him. He knows what he can't do, but he doesn't use that as an excuse to be like, well, then it just can't be done. He's like, well, I can't do it this way. That doesn't mean there's not ways I can do it.
Yeah, I think when your traveling companions are your sister, who was the only bender in your tribe, the literal Jesus of your culture, and the creator of metal bending, you are forced to confront things that you would not like. You're forced to confront your own weaknesses a lot faster. And this episode does such a good job of showing how none of that stops him, and also how much everyone else relies on him, because the moment Sokka's not there, the entire group is just kind of like, I don't know what to do now. I guess we'll hang out? Take a nap?
Definitely not going to tell jokes.
Oh, God.
Oh, God.
I hate purposely, like, that trope of the purposely bad joke being told, and you're just like, no, please stop. But also, it was very well done here. Oh god, it's just so uncomfortable.
Just the worst. Way to be a social glue stick.
If you're gonna tell a bad joke, you have to have, like, the right mood for, like,
You gotta deliver it.
yeah. And they did not deliver it. Okay.
All right. Neat little reference I noticed in this episode, though.
Please.
Piandao compares... What is it? He compares a sword to being, like a long, sharp arm, right? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Piandao is voiced by Robert Patrick, who was the T-1000
That's
in Terminator 2.
Who has the long, pointy arm.
And turned his arms into blades at one point.
Oh, that's so good. I didn't know that was him.
Yep, it's Robert Patrick.
They had a lot of really good voice actors. As I said, Mark Hamill plays Ozai, Robert Patrick plays him, the Boulder. What's his name? Clancy Brown.
Oh, yeah.
Who played Lex Luthor and the Kurgan from Highlander and like 400 other things because he has such a great voice for voice acting. Is in this series as well. They just had a stellar cast. What is it? Dante Bosco?
Rufio.
Yeah, Rufio from Hook. Everything about the show is just so good. Like, I'm sure I should find more critical things to say, but every critical thing I have to say about this show, I can forgive for being a show on Nickelodeon for 10-year-olds.
Right.
Like, it's gone so far beyond what most shows of its genre are that I'm pretty forgiving of the flaws it does have.
Likewise.
His sword fight's pretty fucking sweet, too. I was just trying to think back on the choreography of it.
Oh my god, I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry if this episode is super disjointed, everyone that's listening. It's super disjointed recording it. It is hard to do this without being able to see anyone talking.
Well, I mean, we covered these 5 episodes pretty well, but I have one big question for you guys.
Okay.
Which bending style would you want to be?
Yeah, I fucking knew I was going to do this.
I mean, you have to touch on it, right?
Oh, you can't not. Part of me always wants it to be air, because I don't hold grudges well, and I like to be super forgiving, and I have a thing for storms. But let's be honest, I'd be an earthbender. I have the subtlety of a brick, and that's literally what that is.
Classic. For me, I would probably be either fire or earth. Fire, just because I, at certain points in my life, have been known to have a bit of a temper. I have got pretty decent control over it these days, but the rage is still just like simmering in the pot in the back. And also, I just stubborn as hell like a rock, which is...
Yeah, that's the one I was thinking of. So what you're saying with this temper is I shouldn't make a joke about you being one of the swamp benders? Which I have a weird... Because I make a bunch of leather armor, I have the weirdest urge to make their, like, hat and... like, leaf hat and bark armor.
I would wear the hell out of that,
bring it on the
though.
battlefield. I know you would. This is why we're friends.
Anyways, so, Tyler, what
No,
do
it's
you
tough.
want to bend?
I would most want, I think, as it's portrayed, to be in the show, I'd probably most want to be a waterbender, but I think naturally I'd probably be a lot more of an earthbender.
See, for some reason I was thinking fire for you.
I really like fire, but honestly, like, Northern Shaolin is way too acrobatic for me, and I would just be the laziest firebender of all fucking time. Like, at least with Hung Ga, I'd get to, like, sit down in my fucking stance for a while and just sort of, like, chill out and shit.
Just horse stance for days.
Yeah, that's definitely a thing on it. I know for a fact that I'm a very lazy fighter that hits like a truck because of Belagarth. So that's kind of what earthbending do.
Yeah, like, I've never done any bell, but I used to be a lineman in football, so I think that translates pretty well to earthbending.
Yeah, same concept. Try and stop me. So, do we have any last thoughts on Avatar? Or...
Other than people should watch it and love it as much as we do, nah, I'm good.
Yeah, if you have somehow not watched it, absolutely watch it. I'm sure we will cover episodes probably more in depth in the future, and hopefully in person so we can actually see who's talking. This is all over the phone. This is super weird.
Yep.
Yeah. No, this was a good way to sort of hit on it for the first time, especially with so many people finding it for the first time now that it's back up on Netflix again. I've been really enjoying just like scouring the internet and seeing so many people finding new joy in it. So,
as someone who's been a nerd my entire goddamn life, I remember like when the final episode came out, like that was a big deal. So the number of my friends who had not seen it forced me to remember that the show is 15 years old, so a lot of them might have been a little young for it at the time. Or young enough that, like, they could have much more easily missed it.
Or they just happened to not be there that Saturday or whatever the hell day it aired.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you know, if someone's 25, they were, 10 when it came out? That is a very different relationship to... I watched this in late high school, early college. But yes, watch the show. Don't watch the movie. They are making another live-action show. I know Netflix is doing, which I don't know. I don't really feel like it's needed.
But I'm still gonna watch it.
I bet you it's gonna have some. Oh yeah, I'm a horror for fantasy, so I will absolutely watch. Especially because it sounds like they're actually going to not whitewash the cast, which will help a lot.
and both the showrunners are involved, which will also help.
Yeah.
And and just on top of that, I am increasingly, and I've said it on here before, under the opinion that TV shows are better than movies when you have a complicated at all concept to talk about.
I would agree with that.
You know, if you're going to adapt something, do it over the course of like 15 hours instead of 2 or 3.
100% agree.
Yeah. Especially on Netflix where they get actual, like, budgets, too.
Yeah, Netflix.
Yeah.
Stop making horrible movies and just make decent TV shows.
Right? Like, you know your strengths. Yeah, their movies aren't very good, are they? Although I hear the new one is pretty good. The Old Guard or something like that.
Oh, yeah, I keep hearing that's really good.
I was thinking about watching it after work. Not work. This is work. After this.
You're on the clock.
I'm tired.
Deal with
It's
it.
my Friday, which is Monday.
Yep.
Hey, oh, you should pay us for this. Random audience
What?
of Grizzly.
I'm not paying you for this.
Yeah, that's probably wise. Do we have any recommendations for this week?
I suppose I'll start. I highly recommend the show Kipo and the Age of the Wonder Beasts. It has 2 seasons now. It is also on Netflix. It's put out by DreamWorks. It is a really great, also side of like teen, young adult, or mostly kid, I suppose. Another good cartoon that is really good at showing diversity and different, really progressive ideals and dealing with... It doesn't really deal with some of the crazy, big, problematic things that Avatar deals with, but it also shows, like, dealing with feelings in good ways. It's just really cute and fun.
And the music is so good.
Oh yeah, the music is stellar.
Oh my god. Every creature you meet basically has their own, like, genre music. There are lumberjack cats, timber cats, and they all play folk music, and I have had the timber cat folk music stuck in my head for like 2 weeks now.
I honestly don't have enough good things to say about this show, so I'm just going to leave it where it is for the moment.
Tyler, you said you had one planned out a while back that you had figured out what your recommendation was.
Yeah. I had a completely different recommendation, and then we started talking about the Headband, and I think I may have recommended this before, but fuck it, I'm going to do it again because we're talking about awesome cartoons. And the Headband was directed by Joaquim dos Santos. He also actually directed a number of awesome episodes in The Last Airbender. He also did, like, The Beach, parts 3 and 4 of Sozin's Comet, Day of the Black Sun Part 2, Puppet Master, Southern Raiders.
Lots of very heavy.
The thing that I was going to...
third season.
Yeah. the thing I was going to recommend is that Joaquim Dos Santos is also showrunner on Voltron Legendary Defender on Netflix, also put out by DreamWorks.
That DreamWorks Netflix combo seems to be going real well for us.
Yeah. Also just an amazing animated show. A little bit more action oriented, especially as it goes forward, but still with a good focus on dealing with people's feelings and just treating characters like real people and acknowledging their hardships and stuff, and questionable at times representation, but at least it had a lot more representation than a lot of animation has, including...
Not perfect, but it tries? I said not perfect, but it tries?
Not perfect, but it tries, including actually having the first on-screen wedding between two male characters in a Western children's animated series.
Huh. Oh shit, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I got 3 episodes in, thought this is pretty good, and then
I must have slept through the wedding episode, and now I'm upset with myself.
But I just had a lot of fun with it, seeing Joaquim Dos Santos' name come back up. I fucking loved this new Voltron, and I can't... overall, even though the ending is a little... it's worth it.
The first few
And also, it's
great.
Giant fucking mechs coming together to form even bigger mechs, and it's awesome, and fighting aliens and laser beams and fucking lions, and yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, robots with lions for feet. It's amazing.
Yeah.
All right, so I did have just one, but I'm going to give you 2 because you guys both did cartoons, and I thought, fuck, I have to recommend a good cartoon. If you somehow haven't seen it, Gendy Tartakovsky's Samurai Jack is one of the greatest cartoons ever made, hands down. Samurai Jack is the story of a samurai. It also has the same voice actor as Uncle Iroh, except as a insane, evil, almost clownish character. Samurai Jack is a samurai who is brought forward to the future, and he is trying to go back in time to stop Aku, the demon who sent him to the future, from taking over the world. He is never given a name in the original one, but he is dubbed Jack by the denizens of the future, and he travels around having kooky adventures and kicking ass. And it is a brilliantly artistic episode. It takes, or not episode, show. It takes visual risks that I have never seen other shows do. And its use of silence is just incredible. It'll have entire episodes where no one speaks at all. One episode, Jack versus the Ninja, it goes entirely into pure black and white. No grayscale, no nothing. And then no talking for 2/3 of the episode. I have never seen another show accomplish a third of what this show does. And then it's also just real fun and cool. The other thing I'm going to recommend, though, is a comic book series called The Nocturnals, which I am recommending entirely because I thought Tyler would fucking dig it. It is a mix of science fiction and kind of superhero and organized crime and Hammer movie horror. So werewolves and vampires and Frankenstein's monsters and stuff like that. And it's about a guy named Doc Horror who you find out is an alien from another world who is working with, as I said, vampires and werewolves and stuff, and sometimes working with and sometimes fighting the mob and evil corporations that are making golems to try and take over the world. It's fucking weird, but it's a mix of all the genres you like short of kung fu, and it is an entirely hand-painted comic, which is insane. It's a reason not much of it ever came out.
Right. Huh.
Painting comics takes forever. Again, that is Nocturnals by, I want to give this guy's name because he's amazing, Dan Barrington, and it's super good. You should absolutely check it out. Tyler, but also just people in general. Griz, thank you so much for coming on to this really weird episode. Is there anywhere that people can find you? Anything that you do that you want to brag to people about?
No,
I don't think so in this case,
I don't
but
have
I always
anything
ask the
at
question.
this point. Thinking about some things, maybe sometime in the future, but at this point, no.
Excellent. Okay. Well, I guess, Tyler, it's time for you to do the thing that I do not interfere with anymore.
Oh, okay, yeah. how it'd be super awesome if all you out there would hit subscribe, however you're listening to us right now, because then you can hear whenever we come out with our next episode, right when it comes out. Along with subscribing, if you could rate and review us, however you're listening to us right now, that would be way super duper amazingly helpful, because the entire world is ran on algorithms, and, you know, this is computer shit. So... along with that, in order to keep up with everything we're doing, please head over to our website, www.generalnerdcast.com. You can check out our entire back catalog there. You can contact us through the website or by emailing us, generalnerderypod@gmail.com. And while you're over at the website, please click the links up at the top, because we are part of the Earworm Podcast Network. You can listen to the other shows over on the network through there. Listen to me talk about horror movies over on Fried Squirms. Zach?
You can listen to us talk about war and wargaming and war treatises over on The Art of Wargaming with me and my buddy Malark.
And by heading back to that website, www.earworm.com, EARVVYRM, you can keep up with everything that we hope to eventually put up through the network, and that'll be the easiest place to check it all out at once.
Which, I know you're tired of hearing this, we are working on more things. We were actually supposed to meet up like 2 days ago, but again, 2020 and COVID and Tyler being sick and all that, like, we'll get there. That's the point. We'll get there.
Yeah, I've barely seen people this week. It kind of sucks. Anyway. Also you can search for General Nerdery across all your social medias. Will be what pops up. We try to use them more. I know we say that all the time. It doesn't actually seem like that much more, but I think about it more than I used to, and that's a first step. So
we're getting there. We were at like a 10%. We're up to like a 15 to 20. We'll someday.
It's progress.
Someday, kids.
It's slow progress, but it's progress.
It's terrible, terrible progress. In the meantime, we're your generals of nerdery. I'm Zach.
I'm Tyler.
And I'm that guy, Griz.
That's Griz.
Dismissed.